I asked 100,000 guitarists what the biggest traps are when learning guitar, and we were able to narrow down 4 of the biggest traps. So I'm going to provide those to you right now, and more importantly, how to avoid them. I'm Dan from Beginners Helping Beginners. Let's get started. Now, when you ask 100,000 guitarists a question, you shouldn't be surprised if you got like way too many answers. So what I'm going to do is towards the end of the video, I'm going to give you a rapid fire section with like 10 other traps that you should avoid. But what I really want to focus the majority of the video on are the 4 biggest ones. So let's get started with that, starting with the 4th biggest guitar trap. The 4th biggest trap that you need to avoid is thinking that guitar is easy because so many people can strum a few chords. That's not the case. Guitar is easy to learn the basics, but it's very difficult to be good at the guitar. Guitar is one of the most difficult instruments to learn, especially past the basics. The basics you can learn relatively quickly, right? You can learn a chord a day or you can learn a chord a week, and within a month or two, you could strum and do easy chords and easy songs. But once you get past the basics, you realize it takes weeks and weeks and weeks just to learn one new thing and keep practicing the same thing and over again, incremental gains. It takes a lot of effort, patience, perseverance, lots of practice, and it just, most of all, it takes a lot of time. There is no shortcuts. You just can't have too high expectations about your progress. You can't be like, oh, I have to learn this song within the next 6 months, or I'm a failure, or I'm gonna quit, or I'm not good at guitar. Like, don't look so far in advance. Don't give yourself a goal like that. Just try to get better today than you were yesterday and keep that momentum going forward. You got to be realistic about your goals. You have to embrace the fact that you're going to suck for a year or 2 or 4. You're going to suck in the beginning. And that's the reason why Fender put out an article a few years ago saying that 90% of guitarists quit within the first year because people have these unrealistic expectations going in and thinking that they're going to be good within a year. You're not. So how do you avoid this trap of thinking guitar is easy and then quitting after when you realize how hard it is? Well, first of all, I already said you gotta have realistic expectations, but also you have to find out what motivates you, right? So whether it's getting better today than you were yesterday or learning songs that you want to learn, you have to find what motivates you. And sometimes you just have to sit down and practice even if you don't want to, right? Just keep the repetition going because those incremental gains I talked about earlier, you sit down, you practice even just 10 minutes a day or every other day, and you keep doing that and you keep getting better. You don't have to have these huge unrealistic expectations about, I got to learn these solos and these amazingly hard songs in 6 months or a year, otherwise I'm a failure. Don't do that. The 3rd biggest trap to avoid, and this is a great one, is waiting until you feel you are perfect before you find bandmates or you perform. Too many people are like, I'm not good enough, I can't perform in front of people yet. Like, no, most people are ready to start performing with bands way before they realize. So I asked these guitarists and I said, how good do you got to be to join a band? Like, what's the baseline? And they agreed that if you could play rhythm to basic 3 or 4 chord songs, you're good enough to get in a band. You're good enough to get started. Like, that's all it takes. And the reason why you don't want to push back and procrastinate joining a band is because playing with a band and performing live are both incredible ways to develop as a musician. How? Well, playing with a band or with friends holds you accountable. It makes you learn full songs instead of just riffs. They force you to work on playing in time. You guys could work on that together with a metronome or by yourself with a metronome to make sure that everyone is playing in time. You will find that you usually progress faster when in a band of like-minded individuals. And you can have various degrees of skill. You can still help each other learn. You can learn from the people who are better than you. That guy's really good at soloing. Okay, let him do the solo. Let him be the shredder. You could just be the rhythm person. So remember that. If you were good enough to play rhythm to basic 3 or 4 chord songs, you were good enough to join a band. And if all else, it's fun. Just do it because it's fun. And now we're on to the 2nd biggest guitar trap to avoid. And this one is a 2-parter that are directly related to each other. The first one is too much focus on learning songs and not enough on technique. And the second one is the opposite. Too much working on technique and not enough learning how to play songs. You can have excellent technique and have mastered scales and chords, but you struggle to put a song together, or you struggle to keep time or strumming patterns that go along with the rhythm. Or you just play songs that are always at your comfort level and are not too challenging, and you never really challenge yourself or try to get better. You're never really pushing yourself. So that's what it's all about. It's the balance. You need to worry about the balance, learning a little bit of each and applying it to each other. So you can't have too much technique and neglect songs. You can't do too many songs and neglect technique. You got to work on both of them and not ignore the other one. Not to mention, if you focus on exercises too much and playing stuff that you don't like just for the sake of learning, you're going to get bored and quit. So why do that? So I asked these guitarists and I said, all right, so how do you avoid this trap? How do you have this balance? And a few of them said, when learning theory, learn with a goal in mind and apply it to a song you want to learn. It's like if you learn the technique push strumming or double notes, you could now look into, okay, the La Bamba is a fun party song. Maybe I'll learn the La Bamba, which utilizes both of those techniques. That's how you got to start thinking. And again, the opposite is true as well. Like when you're learning a song that's a little bit challenging, when you're learning your way through it, ask yourself how it's related to a chord or a scale and the shapes that you know. Maybe figure out what principle it's teaching you in music terms and how you can apply it elsewhere with your playing, like in other keys. The more skills you learn, the more skills you can apply to the songs you learn and the songs that you make, like if you were a songwriter. The more music theory you learn, the more you understand your instrument. So when you're learning new techniques and new skills, you learn them faster. You speed up your progress. So the lesson here is that it's all about balance. If you practice, let's say 30 minutes a day, do half of that for practicing and learning techniques and the other half for learning and playing songs. Because at the end of the day, what are you playing the guitar for if it's not to play music? So what is the biggest guitar trap to avoid? Everybody agreed on this. It was by far the highest voted one. The biggest guitar trap is mindless noodling. Playing the same song and riff all the time, never learning new things. One guitarist said, a lot of people get to a place where things start to sound good and then they just stay there. Then eventually they quit of boredom because sounding bad again when learning something new feels like you're starting over. And that's couldn't be more true. It couldn't hit it more on the nose. The last thing you want to do is quit. The last thing you want to do is just play the same old songs over and over again. Although it is fun, I agree with you. You have to kind of challenge yourself. The emphasis is on mindless noodling. Noodling itself is fine. Mindless noodling is what's not fine. So noodling could be a great way to find a melody when you're songwriting, right? You're just fiddling around, you're noodling around, you try to figure out what sounds good with each other. That's totally fine. But the mindless noodling of constantly playing the same riffs and same songs, never learning new things, just because it's kind of fun. You want to play Wonderwall for the 100,000th time. Yes, you might be the best Wonderwall player of all time, but nobody wants to hear you play it for the 100th time. So how to avoid this trap? We already spoke on this. I don't need to spend a lot of time on this, right? Just make sure you're challenging yourself. Make sure you're learning through song. If you want to play songs, learn through song. Challenge yourself. Find stuff that you can't really do right now and work towards that. Don't just mindlessly noodle. So those were by far the 4 biggest traps that you need to avoid. So hopefully I helped you out with that. But like I said, I had tons of other great traps that you should avoid. So I'm going to rapid fire through these ones because I would be doing you a disservice if you didn't hear these as well. But we're not going to spend too much time on these. Like I said, rapid fire. So let's get started. 1, thinking your hands are too small or thinking you're otherwise physically incapable of learning guitar techniques. There's tons of videos of kids shredding out there. There's no excuse. Some things are easier or harder to learn with big hands. Some things are easier or harder to learn with small hands. You have to figure out a way to make it work for you. There's always a way. People do it all the time. Bar chords aren't impossible for you. You just have to build the finger strength. Keep trying at it. You'll get there. I promise you. 2, not practicing with a metronome. I know you probably heard this a million times, but it's 100% true. Slow down. You're probably playing too fast. Fix that with a metronome. 3, not learning fingerstyle properly. It's a hard habit to break if you learn it wrong. I actually recommend that if you are self-learning, self-taught online, if you want to get 1 or 2 lessons in person, just do that for fingerstyle. Let them teach you the basics because there's a lot of mistakes you could do. It's really hard to kind of see what people are doing with their fingers on the internet through videos. Do 1 or 2 lessons maybe just to get the basics of fingerstyle, then go back to learning things online by yourself. That's what I recommend. The 4th biggest trap to avoid: always looking into new gear and changing gear too often. Thinking you don't have the right gear or the right tone and you're messing around with your pedals. Well, all that stuff will just stop you from practicing because you're meddling with all the tones. Don't do that. Just get a couple of them. You're good with that. Master that. Get the other ones later on. 5, thinking you're too old or that you don't have any musical talent. Musical talent just means that you learn things quicker. It doesn't mean you can't learn things at all. Anyone could learn the guitar. It's all about practice and repetition. And saying you're too old, well, to keep it rapid fire, I have a video about that right up here. You are not too old to learn the guitar. 6, you don't have the time. Well, the best thing about guitar is that it's perfect for those situations. It's not like you have to have 2 hour sessions or every single day. Just practice every day or every other day, 10 to 15 minutes. That's the best way to learn. The repetition a little bit every day is the best way to learn guitar. It's not about big chunks of time that you put aside. You learn way quicker 10 minutes a day than you do 1 day a week for 8 hours. Believe me. 7, buying a really expensive guitar thinking that it will motivate you to play more or to practice. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, if you're bored and you don't like the tedious process of learning guitar, then you just wasted way more money than you're going to waste. Just buy a good, decent beginner guitar, get good. Once you get good, reward yourself with this fantastic, expensive, beautiful looking guitar. Otherwise, you're just going to have a souvenir on your wall. 8 is thinking you are plateauing. No one really hits plateaus. You are just simply unmotivated or discouraged to learn more, to keep practicing more. That's when you hit a plateau. If you just keep playing a little bit and having incremental gains, even if you can't see the difference day to day, believe me, there is a difference. They're just very, very small. You keep doing that, eventually you're able to nail it. There's no such thing as plateaus. The ninth biggest trap, and there's two more to go after this, learning parts of many songs instead of learning all of a few songs. What's the point of learning little parts of 100 songs when you show somebody that part, they're going to say, oh, I love that song. Play the rest of it. I don't know how to play the rest of it. Learn songs all the way through. 10, neglecting music theory completely. It's a little counterintuitive, but you can actually put your guitar away for a week and just learn some theory. And then actually when you pick the guitar back up, it'll feel like a shortcut. You start learning things faster because you understand what you're learning. So don't totally neglect it. Mix a little bit here or there. The last rapid fire trap to avoid, comparing yourself to others. Everyone learns differently. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. Everybody has different amounts of time to put towards the hobby. Don't compare yourself to others. That's it. That's all I got. I really hope you enjoy this video. I did put a lot of research into this and I tried to make sure it's as accurate as possible. So please give it a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more of this stuff. I do a lot of deep dives on little topics. I also give a lot of tips. I'm also showing my journey as I learn. I'm at about the 8-month mark of playing the guitar. I hope to see you guys soon back on the channel. My name is Dan from Beginners Helping Beginners. Hope to see you soon.